Self-love is one of the hardest loves to actually master. It's probably one of the hardest things to do in life. So what I want to do is give you some tips on how to build self-love into your life right from today. Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Renee Slansky. I'm a professional dating and relationship coach, and I help women from around the world build the love life they desire and deserve. I get so many messages and emails from women around the world telling me just how much they struggle with self-love, how they loathe themselves, how they don't feel beautiful, how they don't feel worthy, and basically feeling completely defeated because they haven't actually been able to love themselves the way that they know they should. Now, self-love isn't just about ego. It's not necessarily just about going, well, I'm going to go to the gym or I'm going to get my hair done. That is a part of self-love. Self-love is really understanding that who you are is enough, and then setting standards and actions and boundaries in your life that actually reflects that true belief. Now, we often hear people say, well, you just need to love yourself a little bit more, but that is impossible at times, especially when we don't feel like we're lovable or when we don't feel like we do actually love anything about ourselves, even if other people do. And that's why I wanted to give you some practical tips on how to actually master self-love. The first one is this: make a list of everything that you do love about yourself. Now, take time to do this. Put aside any sort of distraction and grab a pen and a piece of paper and write a physical list. Now, you might be thinking, well, there's nothing that I do love about myself. Well, what are some of the comments that people have said about you that kind of think, well, okay, that's actually not too bad. Whether it is you have a nice smile, you have nice eyebrows, you have nice skin, whether it is your heart, the ability for you to be able to overcome struggles. Don't necessarily equate this just to what your physical appearance is. Also look at other things that you're good at, things that you enjoy, things that you get complimented for. They're indications usually of where your strengths are. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to write a list of what you don't love about yourself. Now, hear me out on this. The last thing that I want you to do is to focus on the negative or focus on the lack, because chances are that list of what you don't love about yourself is absolutely hogwash, okay? And what I mean by that is we can become so focused on our flaws that we don't understand that they're not flaws at all. It's just something that we have conditioned our mind to believe that we aren't enough in, or that it is a hindrance, when in reality it could be something that is waiting to be turned into something amazing. It's just that we don't believe it's at the level that we think it should be, usually because we're comparing ourselves to other people. So with that list of what you don't love about yourself, I want you to draw a column next to all those things, all those flaws, all those reasons that you are basically finding it hard to love yourself. And I want you to write your own solution. I want you to basically write a sentence that contradicts that flaws. For example, I hate my thighs might be one of the things that you don't love about yourself, okay? I want you to write next to that, I love my body because I'm able to move, I'm able to walk. I want you to think of the bigger picture here. What we need to do is we need to retrain your mind. And basically that's the main key that we master self-love. We need to retrain our mind to believe that who we are is enough, even if we aren't exactly where we want to be or who we think we should be. So by taking that negative list and actually putting a positive affirmation next to each and every point, you are essentially learning to turn that struggle into a strength. Now, by writing that positive affirmation next to that thing that you don't love about yourself and then speaking it out loud, what you are doing is you're resending new signals to the brain that every time you look at that flaw, you're not going to longer see it as a flaw. The third point is this: I want you to check your environment. Now, what I mean by this is not necessarily, your surroundings, but essentially I am also talking about that as well. We become products of our environment, and that includes what we do, who we hang around, our social group, even our family and our friends. They all have an impact on us and our relationships, of course, as well. This is why it's important that you surround yourself with people who are speaking love into you, who are speaking positivity into you. Don't be around negative people. They're the sort of people that will drain you, and basically over time you're going to feel that you aren't enough and that you're going to start to question who you are, and you're going to start to question your worth, because when someone speaks negativity over you, or when they speak toxic words over you, what we do is we actually absorb that into our subconscious, and then we start to act and think out of that. So that's why it's really important to make sure that you are surrounding yourself, and I mean actively doing this. Stop and really ask yourself, who is it in your world that is adding value to you and speaking love into you? Because you know what, chances are, if you are really lacking in self-love, then I can pretty much guarantee you that there are a couple people in your world who are contributing to that lack, and it's time to give them the boot. The fourth thing I want you to do is I want you to actually start speaking love over yourself. Now, there is power in words. A thought remains a thought. It's not until we actually speak it and then, of course, act on it that we start to put things into motion. Now, our thoughts are incredibly powerful, as we know, but so are our words. And they've actually done studies where they've said basically you can repeat something enough times, and if you do, your brain will actually start to believe that that is the truth, even if it's not. For example, I can say that this piece of paper is white. Now, if I start to speak enough times that this piece of paper is blue, it's blue, it's blue, it's blue, it's blue, and I can say, you know, it might be twice a day over the period of 21 days, my neurological patterns in my brain and my connections will actually start to form a new truth. And eventually, I will no longer be able to see this piece of paper as white. I will actually see it as blue, even though, truthfully seen, it is white. So my point here is this: whatever you continually speak is whatever you start to believe is the truth. If you start to speak love over yourself, even if you don't believe it, then you are going to be retraining your brain to start to see yourself in a completely whole new and positive light of self-love. Number 5, do actions that encourage positive energy and get, you know, those positive hormones and endorphins going. Now, this might be exercise, okay? We all know that exercise is a great stress release. It's something that is something good for our body, but make sure if you're doing exercise, it's not because you hate yourself, it's because you love yourself. Another action of self-love that encourages positive energy within inside your body might be just to rest. Sometimes we can be overloading ourselves or doing a million things at once, and we just feel exhausted by the process. Give yourself permission to rest. Other positive actions might be some meditation, okay? Or it might be reading a book. It might be just laughing. Do some physical activities that actually make you feel good and get those chemicals going in such a way that you have more energy or you feel more peace. Number 6, set some time aside every single day to date yourself. You need to stop and you need to refill your own vessel. You cannot keep giving if you aren't actually receiving or giving anything back to yourself. So set aside maybe 30 minutes a day to just stop, to just focus back on you. Do something that you love. For example, what I like to do is I like to go and have a coffee in a beautiful cafe that has lots of flowers, because I love flowers and coffee. And I do that every single day because what it does is it forces me to stop. It forces me to focus back in on myself. It forces me to just do something that gives me pleasure and to indulge in that without the guilt. And you know what? It's only 30 minutes and it's my little bit of a recharge moment. So I really encourage you, make sure that every single day you can find 30 minutes. Trust me, you have 24 hours in the day, just like anybody else in this world. Oprah has 24 hours in the day, and look how much she has achieved. Now, I don't want you to start comparing yourself, but my point is this: we all have the same amount of time. It's what we do with that time that either propels us or hinders us. Number 7, make an accomplishment board. Now, what I do with this, I do this with a lot of my clients. So basically we have vision boards. We know that vision boards are, about going, okay, well, this is what we want to achieve. This is what we want to aim for, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, an accomplishment board is basically recognizing what you have achieved. Sometimes we can feel inadequate, or we can feel that we're not worthy enough because we haven't reached the goal that we set out to by a certain time frame, especially if it's getting married and having children or having a mortgage or whatever it is, okay? What I want you to do is focus on what you actually have achieved in the past so that you can see how far you've come. When we learn to celebrate things about ourselves, we build self-love into our life because we realize that we are doing something, that we are somebody, and that we do have an identity that isn't based on things that aren't out of our control. We actually have had milestones in our life. We actually have overcome things. We actually have turned struggles into strengths. So it's important to remember that. A lack of self-love is usually based around the fact that you don't feel that you have any place in this world, that you're not enough or that you're not worthy enough. And that is kind of connected to the fact that we don't feel that we have anything to give. So if we're able to give to others, if we're able to praise and contribute to others as well, we're going to actually feel that we do have a place, that we do have something to offer, and in turn, that is going to boost our self-love. Now, if you are a single woman who is struggling with self-love, I'm just going to say this. You need to be able to master this before you even decide to date or get into another relationship, because if you have not mastered the relationship with yourself, it is going to set you up for a lot of issues in a relationship or when you start dating as well. And of course, I do have an online program that actually helps you master self-love and then become a dateable and desirable woman and be able to attract an incredibly committed relationship with an awesome man. So if you want to know about that, then simply click the link in the bio below. Okay, girls, this is my question to you. What are you going to do today to actually start to build self-love into your life? And I know that you can master self-love if you really choose to focus on it this year. Okay, girls, well, that's it for me. Hope you have an incredible day, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.